welcome to Good Life, the health show with me, Pooja. Well, this is a show that focuses on providing you with solutions to your health-related issues, lifestyle, and much more. Well, viewers, good mental health allows you to think clearly, develop socially, and learn new skills. And additionally, good friends and encouraging words from adults are all important for helping each other develop self-confidence and a healthy emotional outlook on life. So, to discuss on importance of mental health, we have with us in studio Chandana Bhuyan, psychotherapist from Pratiksha Hospital. So, not to waste any more time, I'll straight away move to her and talk more on the topic which we have taken today. All right, Chandana, welcome to Good Life, the health show. It's indeed a privilege to have you in our show, and the topic which we have taken today is importance of mental health. So we are going to talk in general, but we have also seen that importance of mental health in children, and this is also a topic which parents need not maybe want to discuss because they are children, they are infants, so they must be thinking that children, why mental health would affect their children. So, but is it true? So what you would start up with, and what would you like to tell the viewers?
Okay. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me here. And yes, it is important. Mental health, it affects how we feel, how we behave, how we think. And also, like, it is very important for the children. It's like mind and body is not different. We think that, health means only physical health. No, health includes mental health as well. And, it starts from the very, when the child is inside the mother's womb. It starts from that point, how the mother is feeling, and it definitely affects the child's brain
that
development.
already affects the children, and maybe it says now that you have to think of good things, and you have to eat good things, and you have to always have to have a positive environment around you.
Because the type of experience the mother is having, it is affecting the mother's brain chemicals, and it is definitely going to affect the child she is carrying. So, and it's about the brain development as well. The brain controls the body, and it controls the mind as well. So yes, it is very much important for the child as well.
Okay, so what does mental health means if we want to talk in general, and our viewers also want to know that in general, if we know not the definition, but in general what we can talk about on mental health?
So it's like, for example, we are functioning in our life. We have our work, we have our studies, or whatever. From the morning to the night, we are doing some of the things. Like it's life.
Lots of
life
activities.
is happening. Yeah. So while the life is happening, whether you are functioning well or not, so it matters everything. Like how you are experiencing, how you are behaving with others, what kind of thoughts you are having inside your mind. It includes everything. And for example, we use the theories of physics, chemistry, biology in everyday life.
Okay.
But what we don't realize is that not from the point of waking up in the morning till we sleep, even while we are sleeping, we can actually utilize the theories of psychology.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a part of life. Yes.
All right. So day-to-day activity, bits and bits of things, which is also related to our day-to-day activity, and also when we get up till we go to the bed.
Yes.
So there are lots of activities happening around us, and maybe a lot of pressure, a lot of mental stress are also affecting us and our body.
Yeah.
So if any person will have to generalize, or any person will have to take care of their mental health, what would be the first thing, and how will they get the signs and symptoms? Like this particular thing is affecting me, or this particular thing is like good for me.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So it's like, first thing, what kind of thoughts the person is having. In all our life, we have the highest amount of conversation with ourselves. So what kind of, what is the quality of your conversation with yourself? That also matters.
Okay.
If you are occupied with lots of thinking, like, you are overthinking a lot, you will feel it, right? You are not able to come out of that some of the thoughts. It's repetitive thoughts.
It's jumbling your mind.
Yes, and it's affecting how you are functioning in your day-to-day life. And it might also, like, it feeling level, like for example, you don't want to wake up in the morning, you just feel fatigued in spite of having a good sleep. Okay, it can start from there, how you are feeling. If you are feeling sadness, and if you are feeling you are not able to work, you are not able to concentrate, these are the early signs of some of the mental health issues.
Okay.
And
so a
also,
lot of thinking, a lot of taking pressure, and a lot of thinking on a particular topic maybe.
yeah, it's on the thinking level, it's also on the behavior level.
Behavior.
Yeah, if you're experiencing like you are irritated all the time, you got triggered very easily, you know, you are having anger outburst and you don't know what is happening
Onto
with
unnecessary things maybe.
Yes, and you know, on a very small matters,
Small matter.
yeah, it's disturbing you and you are not able to cope up with it.
Okay.
So, you know, life has lot of stresses, it will give you a lot of reason to stress out. But if you are not able to handle it, it means you need to take care of your mental health.
So, if we talk about it, why is mental health important and why people will have to take a lot of care about it? So, what would be that? Talking in children as well and talking in youth as well.
Yes, regarding, I will give you a very common example. It's about stress. So today's date, in our modern life, we face stress a lot on an everyday basis. So what happens to our body? Stress changes our body. We need stress, some amount of stress to perform, which is known as eustress, positive stress. But if you are having for a prolonged period of time, you are having too much stress, your performance will get affected, and it will go to the level of distress, which is negative stress. And if you are having negative stress for a very long time, your body is going to, it will go to an exhaustion level. You'll have burnout, and you will see that you are bursting out, you are shouting, you are screaming, you are not able to, you know, handle a very small matters of your life, or your sleep is disturbed, you are not able to sleep, or you are oversleeping. There can be a lot of things. So probably that's a matter of stress. If you know how to manage your stress, life can be much better.
Okay, so these are the early signs and symptoms, we can say that these are the early signs and symptoms which will give us an idea that where we are heading towards. So we have to take care of that, and maybe we can go and talk to a psychologist, or maybe we can talk to our family members at first, like in early stages we can talk to our family members, maybe someone who is close to us, and then maybe some
first thing, we in our society we have very less amount of awareness regarding mental health. Even there are so many highly educated people, but I would say the awareness level is zero. So, you know, we need lot of awareness, and this kind of talks definitely helps. And what happens, if you are having fever, it is completely okay for you to go to a physician.
Absolutely.
Right?
And this is also one kind of like shyness or one kind of hesitation. People come up and freely they talk about these things. Maybe they think that this is not maybe acceptable in society, but I would like to tell the viewers that these are the things now people are really open up about, and awareness has been created around you, and one should always discuss these things to their parents, and also if not parents, then talk to your psychologist or maybe to your close ones, so that they can give you some idea that whom to approach and who will give you a proper solution, isn't it?
Yes, and also I want to add some facts. Like, you know, 50% of mental disorders starts before the age of 14.
14?
Yes.
Okay.
And 75% of mental disorders starts before the age of 24. So we can actually, you know, if the awareness is strong enough, if we can erase the social stigma, the taboo, if they easily can go to the counselor or the mental health professional, then what can we do? We can save lives, you know, we can save those people from falling into the clinical population.
At the initial stages.
Yes, yes.
Because it can go apart and things may be more worse.
Yes, and that's why, you know, now government has make a rule, like, you know, every school must have counselors. It's very important, and of course parents might not be, you know, aware enough. So if awareness is needed, definitely, and if you are seeing any kind of signs and symptoms which is disturbing and they don't know what it is always okay to take the child to a psychologist, or take the adult or whoever it is,
whoever
is psychologist.
Yes.
It's completely fine. It's like you're having a mental issue, that doesn't mean you're going to have it all your life.
Maybe because of some small reasons that can be helped out, and that can be helped out by talking, or maybe having a proper communication, and you're not getting that.
Yes, and you know, therapy is nothing but it's some better coping strategies. You are definitely using coping strategies, which is probably not healthy enough. We will just teach you how to cope up in a better way. It's purpose of any therapy is to empower the person. It's empowering.
Empowering.
Yes.
Okay. And the best medicine I would be maybe the love and affection, and also about the confidence building from the parents, and that comes from the home itself.
Yeah.
Your closed ones will give you a moral boosting and also giving you confidence on whatever things you do. Maybe if they have taken up a habit or taken up a hobby, so that can be also a discussion at home, and they can be boosted on that.
Yes, yes.
In fact, especially in children we see.
Yeah, social health as a whole is a part of mental health.
Okay.
And 99% of the criminals are coming from dysfunctional families.
Okay.
So, and of course, whenever we are looking at a client with some kind of mental disorder or disturbances, we are actually looking into their childhood, what kind of experience they have in their childhood. And on today's date, I have lots of personal clients, they are all of them are adults. They are dealing with anxiety or depression, but everything goes back to their childhood.
Okay.
So it's very, very important to take care of your child's mental health. It's so important, and it starts with the parents and teachers. Yes. If we can target them, if we can empower them, if we can give them that awareness, we can actually create a beautiful society.
Absolutely. In children, we have seen that they spend quite a long time in school, and whatever environment they get, whatever friends they make, that also gives them more impact on them, isn't it?
Yeah.
So talking about children in schools, so what do you think that what kind of awareness schools should take up? As you have already mentioned, nowadays it has become compulsory as well, that awareness and counseling is very important, and maybe how parents deal with it, because some parents won't allow, they might not think it positively. So what do you tell and what do you suggest our viewers that these kind of counseling is very, very important for your children?
So like for first of all, I would suggest they can always take up a psychologist. They can train their teachers on effective teaching, how to deal with children, how to take care of their mental health, because they are the first people who deal with a child after the pediatrician, obviously. And regarding parents, we prefer parental coaching. It's not like that, parents definitely they don't harm their child intentionally, but there are some social customs, there are some culture, some cultural construction we have because of which the children are affecting. For example, we feel that if you beat your child, you can restrict the child from doing any mistake. But it's such a wrong concept, because it's going to affect his or her mental health as well. So what we can do, we can give training to the parents. In fact, the parental coaching, these are all based on psychological theories. As I have said, psychology is a very much part of our everyday life.
Okay, so how can a parents be dealing these kind of like activities if they don't scold, or then what can they do? Like what would you tell the parents? Like what kind of tips you want to give to them?
Yeah, there are so many ways to handle. Like in all of us, there are three persons at the same time. Like three ego state we say in our language. Okay. So we have inside us, we have a parent ego state, we have an adult ego state, and we have a child ego state. Okay. So we always we are very loyal to our parents. So the way we have brought up, we always imitate our parents. So if there is a parent who is very strict, and there will be that kind of a person inside us as well. At the same time, there is a child. There will be always a child, and most of the time, there the conflict happens between a parent and a child conflict, or a teacher and a child. Whatever conflicts happens, it's because of those transactions, those communication gap or communication conflict,
which is not happening properly.
Yes, and what we have to do, we most of the time it's helpful to address the child from the adult ego state, which is really tough. It needs training, and it's a very vast topic. So but we can always train the parents, and they can be benefited from that.
So how difficult is training a parents? Like you have gone through and you have been like taking these kind of patients and talking to them. So how difficult is managing them? Is it very difficult? And sometimes maybe you have taken up so many cases, and it might be giving you some examples or some stories also, like to make it like when you are sitting alone and you are maybe remembering or recollecting that, oh my God, that parent or this case was really tough for me to take care of.
Like, almost I have to say every child case is different, unique, and obviously it's a challenge. It's tough. It's always tough.
Very challenging.
Yes, but most of the time, what I have seen, if there is no biological issues, the biological predisposition, yet they are having some behavioral issues. The parents have taken the child to me, and complaining about the behavior of the child. The teachers has complained, so they have come to me, or the doctor suggested that go to a psychotherapist. What happens? It always, I have seen that it always boils down to the parents, because probably the child is mirroring their parents.
Okay.
So there is some dysfunction happening in the home front, and the child is just imitating that, or probably the child is not able to cope up with whatever is happening inside, and the child is behaving in a very dysfunctional way.
Okay.
So by counseling the parents and making them aware what is happening and how it is affecting their child, we can actually save the child.
All right, Chandana, we'll come back to this topic. We have a phone call, so let's take the phone call and then we'll continue with the conversation. Hello.
Hello, more cousin problem eta hoise. Tar doctor kole tar king baby syndrome boli eta kiba ta problem hoise. Jitu kane tar খুব বেছি সৰু ল'ৰা-ছোৱালীৰ লগত মানে তাতকে বয়সৰ কমৰ ল'ৰা-ছোৱালীবোৰৰ লগত লগ হ'ব বিচাৰে, আৰু এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ হয়। তাক যদি ব্লেক কালাৰ বাইক এখন কিনিব বিচাৰে, মাকক ব্লেক কালাৰ বাইকখনেই লাগে বুলি ক'ব। বেলেগ কালাৰ যদি আমি কওঁ যে বেলেগ এখন কিন, নহ'ব। মানে তাক যি বিচাৰে সি এতিয়াও, তাৰ এতিয়া 32 years old সি, কিন্তু সি এতিয়াও সেইখিনি মানে তেনেকৈ লাগি থাকে বস্তুবোৰ। এই অসুখটোৰ পৰা মানে তেনেকৈ আমি তাক ঠিক কৰিব পাৰিম। মোক অকণমান ছাজেশ্যনছ লাগিছিলে। 32 years old সি।
Okay.
Thank you for the question. যিহেতু তেখেত 32 years হৈছে আৰু তেওঁৰ এটা কণ্ডিশ্যন আছে, বহুত সময়ত কিছুমান কণ্ডিশ্যন আমি একেবাৰে আঁতৰাব নোৱাৰি, কিন্তু মেনেজমেণ্ট পচিবল। তেখেতৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত আই উড ছাজেষ্ট আপুনি এগৰাকী ভাল থেৰাপিষ্টৰ ওচৰত লৈ যাওক, য'ত এটা টীম আছে, য'ত অকুপেশ্যনেল থেৰাপিষ্ট আছে, য'ত তেখেতক চেঞ্চৰী ইণ্টিগ্ৰেশ্যন এক্সাৰচাইজ কিছুমানো কৰাব পৰা যাব। এইটো হয়তো মই ইয়াত অলপ ডিফিকাল্ট হ'ব মই ভালদৰে বুজোৱাত, কিন্তু আই উড ছাজেষ্ট তেখেতক লৈ আপুনি মেণ্টেল হেল্থ প্ৰফেচনেল এগৰাকীৰ ওচৰত যাওক। তাৰপিছত আপুনি ফাৰ্দাৰ ষ্টেপবোৰ ল'ব পাৰিব, বাট দেয়াৰ আৰ ৱেজ উই কেন মেনেজ, দেয়াৰ আৰ টেকনিক্স ফৰ মেনেজমেণ্ট অফ ছাচ কাইণ্ড অফ কেছেছ।
All right, thank you so much for calling. So viewers, our phone lines are open and the numbers are flashed on your television screens. So queries regarding the mental health disorder and anything discussions on the topic which we are discussing today, you can please call up, and Dr. Chandana is here to discuss on the topic, and we are having a fruitful discussion on this. So please call up as the numbers are flashed on your television screens. So coming back to you on parenting and discussion on parents, like how you make them understand what kind of counseling a parent should be taking.
So I would give example. For example, if I say at this moment, like oh, you are looking really beautiful. How are you feeling?
Of course, like good.
You're feeling good, right? Yeah. But if I give a negative statement, like oh no, you are not looking good. You can look much better than this. How you are going to feel?
That's what, like the human nature, that I'll feel something like what is wrong with me or something.
Here you are an adult, and you just know me from just like a few minutes ago, right? So what happens? Just imagine how the child is going to feel when he or she gets a negative statements from the teacher or their parents. Parents, for them, parents are the safe space for the child. And most of the time, what happens, especially in our Indian society, parents are really, they yell at their children a lot. They want the good, obviously.
They want the good.
Yes. But
sometimes they are overprotective also.
Yeah, overprotective. They yell a lot, they criticize a lot, they they compare a lot. See, neighbor ka bacha itna acha hai and all that.
This comparison is actually like a very thing that we have been seeing in every household.
Yes.
So comparison thing to parents should be taken care of, isn't it?
Yes, and like what we don't realize, we think that he just bacha hai, nothing will happen. But any child, no matter how young he or she is, their receptive language is very strong. They can take information, and how you as a parent talk to your child shapes his or her personality.
Okay.
Because by the age of 9, most of the core beliefs, we just gather all our beliefs, we just create our belief system by the age of 9. Okay. And definitely that your family life and your school environment has a lot of contribution there. Yeah. And if there is a lot of negative statements from your parents, from your teachers, or from your friends, or from the neighborhood or environment, what will happen? The child will shape his or her personality on the basis of those statements.
Okay, okay. So statements, whatever it comes from any one of them, it really puts an impact on children or anyone.
Yes. So we normally suggest what we say. It's not exactly suggest, but what we empower the parents to reconstruct the statements.
Okay.
What you expect from the child, you can sit with the child and we can talk about it, and in a very positive, rational manner.
Absolutely.
Not
maybe
in a blaming tone.
Yeah, maybe frame the sentences in such a good ones that the child may take it as positively and maybe think twice before acting on it. Okay. So those are the things like parents should maybe what we say now, that if we whatever like food we cook is if we present it properly, so the hunger tempts and we always feel like it's very tempting, but whatever the reason might be. So the thing is like whatever you want to present to your children or anyone or any youth, so it should be presented, or the sentences should be framed in a proper manner.
Yes, and they are watching you, by the way.
Yeah.
If you are yelling at your child, expect that the child will yell at you after some years. So it's very, very important. And most of the time, whenever for example, the teenage phase, it is the most conflicted period of anybody's life. They are having lots of hormonal upsurges.
Lot of influence.
Yes, and they are actually trying to find out their own identity.
Okay.
They are it's a transitional period. From they used to be under their parents, and now they are moving towards adulthood. They are actually trying to find out or explore their own identity. They need a lot of love and support at that moment, not criticism.
We have also seen that children and some of the students, they hide a lot of things from their parents, maybe because of the strictness and the strict module of their parents and the things coming from the home and teachers as well. So this is also that one should be more friendly.
Yeah, that's one thing. And I can give you one more example. Like for example, we see that substance abuse is a problem on today's date, right? So we are dealing with this challenge in our society. So from where substance abuse, like their addiction, this problem of addiction, from where it's coming? Those things, those drugs or those things, they are not addictive by nature. There are certain people, out of 100 people, not all the people will get, if they get the exposure also, they will not get addicted to it immediately. There are certain kind of people who will, or children or teenagers who will get that inclination towards that addiction, those things. Why it happens? Because while they were developing as a child, probably they didn't get the needed love and affection from the primary caretaker, and they got the message that I'm not wanted here. For example, or most of the time the parents are really busy nowadays, both of the parents, and they don't have time, and after they getting back to home, they're really tired. What they do, they just give the mobile, play with it, because they need rest also. But the child, for the child's subconscious mind, they get the message, oh, I'm not wanted here. And with that message, what happens, their brain development get affected, their endorphin system get affected. Okay, our brain releases dopamine, endorphin. Okay, so like if that particular system get affected, what happens? That child will carry an internal void inside always. And what will happen to that child when he or she will reach teenage? It will try to find out that painkiller outside his or her body, and that painkiller can be internet, that painkiller can be drugs, that painkiller can be alcohol. Yes,
in any form. Okay, maybe finding like those kind of friends which will give them all kind of like comfort or something like that. So parents will have to be very careful while dealing with their children at a very tender age, starting from the tender age. Though there are a lot of, we have seen that nowadays parents are very busy, but still time is very important, that one should be, one should give to their children at a very proper initial stage and a proper timing as well. They should always take out a 1 hour or half an hour for their children to sit and talk what they did with their day-to-day activity, what was the whole day, how was your whole day, or something like that. A lot of like normal discussions, not about always about their grades, about their studies, about their marks. Always a normal topic can be taken care of.
Yes, and also, marks won't define the worth of your child, but your attention, your support is definitely going to measure their worth. they will be, their worth, their self-esteem is going to based on how you treat them, not on their marks. There are so many people, so many examples of people who are extremely successful in their life in spite of academic failures. So it matters, and many times if a child's performance is bad, giving very poor performance in the school, it's not because the child is having any problem in his or her intelligence level. Probably the child is struggling in his or her
what is the
personal
exact
life.
problem should be found out, and maybe there are a lot of like activities maybe one is adapting towards, and maybe he's not good at academics, but first of all one should be a great human being and a good human being. That is the most important thing parents should understand, and grades and marks will come down, so those are a part of life, but first of all you should always be friendly with your children and friendly with your like parents as well, and children should also be friendly with your parents so that you can discuss anything, you can discuss your problems easily to them, and there are friends to discuss, but parents are the most important friends in your lives, and they can be more open up to you if you want to be, isn't it? If you want to be from your side, then they can be more open up.
Mainly it's the parents' responsibility to give that space to their child, and also like and also because you are talking about intelligence, it's emotional intelligence is much more important than IQ. So it's like how you are good at language, how you are good at maths. They're going to define your success, but only 20%. There 20%. Are all over the world, there are lots of universities and educational institutes, and in all the branches of science, there are lots of studies and research going on. But highest amount of studies has happened till date in the behavioral science, which is psychology. And according in a study in Harvard University, according to their study, it's a 75-year-long study. They have found out that your academic performance, how good your cognitive faculties decide only 20% of your success. 80% of your success depends on how emotionally intelligent you are. How well you can manage your stress, how well you can manage your life. So it's more about learning about life skills.
So when as a parents or when as a member of any of the house will have to be concerned, like when they find any kind of signs and symptoms in their children or any of their adult kids. So what are the signs and symptoms that parents will get an idea or get a clue that there is something wrong with my children, so they can immediately go and talk to a psychologist, or maybe they can talk to their other near and dear ones. So what are the first early signs and symptoms? One we have already got to know, but what are the other ones?
If the child is scared of something, a lot of fear is in him, a lot of anxiety you have noticed. If there is an extreme level of lack of confidence, and the child is not able to talk about something if you ask, and or the child has withdrawn himself, like not sharing anything, most of the time he or she stays inside the room, or like whenever you ask something, he just
anger or frustration,
outbursts, and like food habits, either he is eating too much or eating very less.
Dietary part is also very important.
Because many times eating is directly related to your emotional needs. So everything is important actually. Everything.
So these are the early signs parents will get an idea that there is something wrong. So on that note, what do you suggest to the parents, that they should immediately go and see a psychologist, or they should go, first of all they should go and talk to their children?
It's always better to ask the child. If the child is not comfortable enough to open up, it can happen. In our society, like children are scared of their parents, and they don't know, because parents react. They react in a very overwhelming way. And for the child, what they want, what they need someone who can
understand, who can read their mind,
who can non-judgmentally listen to them. And on today's that
really they can talk to them.
we hear them, we don't listen. So it's very important to listen to them. So if you are not able to get get the answer, it's always better to take the child to the counselor.
Yes. So that's better, and then things will be more clear what exactly is happening with the child. Maybe he's normal, but something is hindering him, or something is hurting him. So maybe that can be solved out maybe by talking, and if he's not much open to their parents, then they can also talk to their friends, maybe some close friends, so that he or she can also communicate with their child to get an idea, isn't it?
Right.
So there are lots of things to discuss, doctor, and we have have a lot of topics to be discussed, and our phone lines are open, viewers. So if you have any queries related to the topic which we are discussing today, so you please call up and ask your queries. But right now, we'll slip into a short break, but do come back soon because we have lots more on the other side. Welcome back, viewers. You're still watching Good Life, the health show with me, Pooja, and we are having a fruitful discussion with Chandana Bhuyan. So, Chandana, coming back to you again, so we had a lot of discussion on the mental stress and also mental health about, and also how our parents can deal with it. So, let's talk about the treatment part, that how can we treat a mental disturbance?
So, it's the first of all, if we can diagnose.
If we can diagnose.
Yes, what has happened, what's went wrong. So that is the first, the 50% problem is solved.
Okay.
Because there are ways, there are multiple of ways, and there are more than 400 modalities of therapy.
All right, so I'll put my question in this way then. If any person comes to you with a counseling or anything like they want to discuss about it, that my child or my son is facing this kind of problem. So what is the first thing, or what is the diagnosis part you do?
So first thing, we take a case history. We start from the very point of, conceiving. How do you conceive? How was your pregnancy? Was there any immediate cry at the time of birth?
So do you talk to them individually, or you talk to the parents and the...
we have to talk to the parents, to the mother specifically.
Okay.
And of course, we have to observe the child. On today's date, I get a lot of autistic children and ADHD cases. So it's like, we have to take the case history. That's very important. And there are some tools, psychometric tools and assessment scales which we utilize to get into the root cause, where is the problem, or rule out the problems, and to get to know what is the issue exactly. And once we get to know that, then there are other ways to handle
but
it.
This is the initial thing which you do.
Yes, this is the initial thing we do. Yeah.
All right, so you take up the history, and then after that, like, you talk to the parents, and also you talk to the child who has come to you.
Everything is important.
Everything.
Like, for example, at what time the child had the neck holding, was it on time?
Okay.
When the child starts to babbling, like when he or she first sit, and when he first started crawling, whether the crawling part is skipped or not. There are some children who immediately go for walking. The crawling part got skipped because of some disease. Is there any major illness until the age of 2 years? If there is any major illness, what was it? So there are so many things, so many information we need to know.
So who would have thought that these things are also so important?
Yeah,
like, you
it's
have
very
to take
important.
care of it. Maybe they always thought that we should take up the case history of the child, that how is he, how he was born, and then only about the activities, what he is doing in day-to-day activities.
I can give you
this is about, like, you are asking to the parents, you are asking to the mother that how the pregnancy was, and after the birth, crawling part, walking part. So these are so many bits and bits
everything
of things.
is important. When it comes to the child, everything is important. And it's like, for example, there are cases, one child, he has a problem of he bangs on everything.
Okay.
He bangs on everything, and whenever he is asked to write, he complains that his hands pains and he cannot write, and there is a jumble. His writing is also jumble. His pencil grip is also not good. So when I took the case history, I got to know that he didn't crawl. The crawling part was completely skipped, and he immediately went for walking, and writing. So it's like when the crawling part is skipped, it means his fine motor development and his gross motor development got affected.
Okay.
So it's definitely so obvious that he will complain that while he is writing, his hands pains. There are so many things, we need to look into it. So that's why it takes a lot of time also, because we need to have the information. At the same time, we need to observe the child, how he or she is behaving inside the clinic.
Inside and at present, like if you're
Yes.
taking up the case and if you're
Yes.
talking right now, so how is he behaving, how
Yeah.
he is reacting,
Yes.
his facial expression, everything
Yes,
matters.
yes. Even when the child enters into my clinic, whether the child establish eye contact with me or not, when I waved on him, whether he give me the smile or not, everything matters. In case of autistic spectrum disorder, it's mainly a disorder related to social adaptability. So if there is it doesn't not only restricted to language deficit, but also like whether the eye contact is there or not, whether he
Okay.
can relate to other people or not. There are so many things we need to look into.
So communication, when you are communicating also with the child, then you have to see a lot of things in
Yes,
that.
yeah.
And do you also talk to them individually and you ask the parents to be
Yes.
like apart, and then you want
Yeah,
to have an individual discussion?
So like if the child is very small, yes, I will only observe, and there will be some questions.
Okay.
So I will, for example, I would definitely give the child 2-3 instruction altogether, and I will see whether the child can follow my instruction all or not, or whether
And questions depends on child to child and also to the children, youths?
no, it
Okay.
depends child to child. And if for example, if a 10-year child is coming with their parents, then definitely I would have a separate conversation with the child. Without the parents. Definitely, that is more important.
So what do you think nowadays this social networking sites and this internet and the telephones, phones, and mobile phones have put an impact on the children, because this has maybe deleted the communication with the parents, with the society, because they are always engrossed with the phones which have been given by their parents. And we have seen a tender age, a very young age, children are taking up with phones, and they are busy with the phones because the parents, they don't have time, so they give up the phones and they are busy with that. So what do you think?
So
Playing an important role?
Yes, it plays a very important role in case of all kind of child cases, like whether it's ASD, means autistic spectrum disorder, whether it's ADHD, whether it's any other behavioral disorder, whatever it is, we have to suggest to the parents, please limit the screen time. And also, like back in 2017, World Health Organizations, the mental health week, there is a week of mental health. Yeah. We always have a theme for every year. In 2017, it was a theme of Let's Connect.
Let's connect.
Yes, the connection to the society and connection to the nature is so important. Now that has been replaced by the machines. And definitely we are human beings, we are basically social animals. So it definitely matters if the child is spending a lot of time inside the house, and of course with the TV or with the mobile, it's going to affect his or her development.
And earlier we used to see the physical activity was more or less, but nowadays these things have come less. And earlier people or children used to go out, just coming out of the school, and then after that they should go out and play with their friends. But that has lessened nowadays.
Yes.
It has taken the mode of like telecommunications and also the mobile phones. When they don't want to go out, they want to sit back home and see to the internet or whatever, watch the cartoons or anything on the internet as well. So how parents can play an important role in this?
Parents has the most important role here, because first of all, if you are not able to give time, it doesn't mean you will replace yourself with a mobile. Okay, that is not the solution.
That's not the solution.
Yeah. Second thing, when you are getting back to home and you are definitely tired, you are not able to give time to the child, please don't give a mobile. That is again, you're not your replacement. The child is not able to decide for him or her what is right and wrong. The parents is deciding here, and definitely it will the child will get glued to the mobile because it is attractive, and audio visual thing definitely attracts the child, and that's why we have audiovisual classrooms nowadays. But it cannot replace the sensory experiences. The child, for a proper development, proper brain and body development, the child needs proper sensory experiences, because we perceive through our senses, and then concept develops, and that's how we develop our intelligence, our cognitive abilities, you know, that creativity, that engagement to the creative work and to the nature, it's very important.
Though it has some positive things also, but
Yes.
those positive things are not taken up by the children and also not taken up by the parents as well. But negative impact is putting a lot on the children.
I would say, like in the whole 24-hour, you can give 30 minutes time of screen time to your child, and of course you must be there, like, you know, you should see what the child is watching.
Right.
Not everything is, we cannot feed anything to the child, obviously. There is an age
Screen
for everything.
timing is very important. A
Very
strict rule
important.
is very important for a children, so that he can adapt that discipline at home at a very early age. And if he wants to see something, that should be done under the prevalence of the parents and also on the guidance, under the guidance of their guardian.
And at the same time, it doesn't mean you will be, as a parent, you will be very strict. It's like if you yourself is busy with the mobile and you are yelling at your child, what are you doing with the mobile? It will not, definitely not help.
They are going to adapt those things.
Yes, because the child is watching you. The child is going to imitate you. So that is one part. You have to take care of what you are doing as well. And at the same time, there are ways, like sit with the child, talk to the child, and just ask a very rational, you know, give the respect to the child. The child is also a person, right? Treat the child as a person and let him or her understand, okay, let's discuss what is the benefits of, you know, watching mobile, okay, and what are the
let's take that topic.
Yes,
as well.
the drawbacks of
what do you think?
Yes, you know, simply motivate the child to think.
And they might also give examples, like maybe children coming out of their school, they see other children with their mobile phones or seeing that their parents are giving them, so they can also complain that I am not being given, or I have seen my so-and-so friend using, so why not me? So at that point in time, parents have a difficult time to make them understand.
Yes, because the
comparison part,
and it is a peer pressure. Peer pressure is very crucial in that age, yes, definitely. And that is why it's very important to make the child realize. Once, you know, I can give you suggestion, you can follow it or you can, you know, just dismiss it.
Right.
But once you realize yourself, you will definitely look after it, right? So it's important to make the child realize, and that's why it's important to give the child respect as a person and sit with him and just make him understand what is good for him.
Because
let him
do
decide.
your part. You have to do your part. Self-realization will come up, but you have to do your part.
Yes, yes. For the self-realization, you have to help, definitely, but not in a nagging manner. Yes. And
so in that mode only, how can a parents help their children in mental health procedure? Like how can they help them? As you have already said, that they can sit with them, they can talk to them, whatever, or maybe whatever the interest the child is adapting, so they can also put in their effort with that interest.
So best way to be a friend to your child, first thing. Second thing, there are some of the things. For example, when we talk, when we adults talk, you know, we talk on an equal level. So it's very important to go down to your child's level and
their
have
comfort zone.
Yes, have a alignment with the eye contact and then talk.
Okay.
And talk with lots of love. That's very important. And then let them know that it's completely okay to feel any kind of emotion. And let them realize that it's a safe space. You know, if the parents are the non-judgmental beings, if they can listen to their child non-judgmentally, the child will definitely come to the parent for sharing, you know. And sometimes let them understand it is okay to feel anger, it is okay to feel frustration, you know, it is completely okay to feel those emotions. How you are going to handle it? Once the parents know how to handle those emotions themselves, then only they can empower their children. And that is why it's important for the, you know, that awareness part is really, really important.
So it is very important to nurture your child at a very tender age. And so how are the things, like you have also mentioned about a lot of like important things to be taken care of. So apart from this, like physical activity, dietary part is also very important nowadays. Your diet chart of your children, what is he eating, what is he liking, and what kind of things he is affected to. So those things have to be taken care of.
Yes, yes. And that's why, you know, we normally say, normally, you know, request a pediatrician, because they are the people who are looking after the child from the time of birth to the age of 17 years, right? And that is a very crucial time, by the way. And they are the first people to get to know about the child.
Okay.
So the moment they, they can also screen the child whether they need a therapist or counselor or not. So normally parents also more comfortable to talk to their pediatrician, like my child is having this issue. So it's very important that the pediatrician also, they can empower themselves on parental coaching, and also they can, refer the cases to the psychologist.
Okay, so had it happened in your hospital as well that you have got those referred cases?
Yes,
and
all the
you had to
time.
go through these. So what were some of the cases, if we just want to mention to our viewers?
Like I can give you one example. Like there is a child of 3 years old child, okay, and she was referred by a pediatrician, obviously.
Okay.
The issue was she was having nightmare from last 1 week, and
Okay.
she's not able to sleep, and she was screaming and crying, and nobody can control. And parents are at loss, like what is happening, we don't know. And obviously they took the child to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician immediately realizes, and he just referred it to me. And what I did, I normally with children with behavioral issues, I normally start with art therapy. Okay, so art is explorative, at the same time it's therapeutic.
Okay.
So with the help of art as a tool, I got to know that she used to see a cockroach. Okay,
Okay.
so like that particular thing, it just
Was
gets-
she drawing on the paper?
Yeah,
about
she was.
that?
I just asked her. I first, it is very important to build the rapport with the
Yes.
child. I talk to the parents, then I let them go, and then I talk to her, make her comfortable. Then I make her, draw her dream and what happens in the dream. And finally, I got the clue that
Okay.
it just in all her art form, she's just mind that she's just a 3 years old child. I have to call the parents. I had to ask them what happened. Just this nightmare, just before this nightmare started, what happened in your family, which scared your child like anything. She's so scared of losing her parents.
Okay.
And there is like that fear is chasing her, and
Chasing
she's
her.
yes. And then the mother broke down and she said, yes, we are having a terrible fight. We were talking about divorce, and we are talking about the custody of the child, and we were snatching her away.
Okay.
Both of them. And of course, just after 3 days of that, that nightmare started.
Okay.
So I did the parental counseling part. I talked with both of the parents separately and also together. And then obviously, my purpose is of the well-being of my client, which is the child. And
Which is the child.
Yes, and I did some art therapy sessions with her, and she's fine with it now.
So at this, in this type of cases, what kind of therapy do you use? You have to very much be crucial while dealing with the children, and that just 3 years of age.
Yes,
So-
because if the child is able to express what is happening cognitively, it's good enough. We start with talk therapy.
Okay.
But most of the time, children they are not cognitively that much capable of articulating their problem and whatever feelings they are having.
Expressing their problems
Yes,
as well.
it's always start with the colors. Art. Art is
Okay.
an excellent medium, excellent tool to work with children.
Okay.
For any kind of problem. And yes, but it is different in case of ADHD and ASD children. And there are some neurodevelopmental issues. In those cases, it's definitely different.
Okay, so does only talks solve these kind of problems or being treated, or you also give some medicines or any kind of like relaxing exercises?
Medicine is always given by the pediatrician or the child psychiatrist. Child psychiatry is definitely pediatrician or the psychiatrist. We mental health professionals like psychologists, therapists, we don't give medication.
Okay.
If we feel like the child or the person needs medication, it is a kind of a teamwork. Yeah, we normally refer them to a psychiatrist. Yeah, and
Okay.
obviously there are. It depends. It depends on the person's personality. So as I have said, there are more than 400 types of therapy. So there are different kinds of modules and modalities. And we normally. I normally take the multi-model approach, and depending on the person's personality, how the person is going to perceive and how he or she is expressing and what is the problem, depending on that, the therapy is completely customized.
Okay, so do you also apply some tools, like you have already mentioned about colors, which is a very effective way to make out things and make out the things like what children is thinking. So any other tools which you also apply, like with the children and also with the adults as well.
We have some projective tests.
Projective, okay.
Tests, yeah. Those are like, we know there are, for children there are special projective tests. There are different kinds of psychological assessments. So from those things we can take out what is disturbing the child. So if the child is not opening up that much, we normally go for the projective test.
Okay,
yes.
okay. So had it any time been very difficult for you to handle a case, and that would have been a very challenging one for you, and you had solved it out, and you have like come out with a very flying colors, and you must be feeling like great that, okay, fine, I have done it with this, and this was indeed a very difficult one. So there must be a lot of like some instances to be cherished about and cherish those moments as well.
There are actually so many cases, and children are always, they are a challenge because they cannot talk.
Yeah.
They cannot express what's wrong with them. So it's really tough with them. So what happens, once I got a child who has become mute.
Okay.
She become completely mute. She will not talk to the parents. She will not
What was
talk
the
to
age?
She was 7 years old.
Okay.
Okay, and she will not talk at all, and she will cry all the time. She will cry, otherwise she will not talk. Suddenly she'll just stop talking. Okay. And parents definitely, they don't understand. The teacher also not understanding what went wrong. And then it took a lot of time to build the rapport with the child first, and then with yes, of course, art therapy helped me, and through art only, and then of course I have to take the help of projective tests. I get to know that the child was actually abused by the driver.
Okay.
And she's not understanding what was happening, and she was scared.
She was really traumatized with that.
Whom to contact, how to tell, and she is definitely not understand what is wrong with her, what happened exactly, but it feels wrong. So of course it was a challenge.
So these kind of awareness, I think the parents should also come up with, and they should always come and talk to their near and dear ones, and also to the psychologist. There is nothing to be ashamed of, because your child is facing that problem, isn't it?
Yes.
So on that note, like what do you think, Chandana, that what kind of awareness should schools, like we can suggest with the schools, we can start up with the schools, and how the school authorities can take up these matters, and do you also tell them to take these kind of awareness in their school's activity? They maybe in form of a skit, maybe in form of any drama, so that the children can understand which is a good touch, which is a bad touch.
Yes. So it's very important, like, and that's why counselors in the school are very important. And also, before even going to the school age, there can be abuse. Okay, and most of the time abuser is a family relative, most of the time, and we don't know, we are not aware. So it's so important to make the child understand which are the private parts, which are the danger zone, which should not be touched by others, or other person should not touch their own private parts in front of them. Let them understand, make them understand with drawing and skit, and also ask the child whom they trust most, and go to the person and tell them that I trust you most, and if anything happens with me like this, I will come to you and tell you. So it's very important, and this is a very huge responsibility on the parents' part.
And with the both gender, not only with the girls, but also with the boys as well.
With the both gender, and also it's so important to trust your child. Many times what we do, बच्चा है, I think कुछ गलत फहमी हो गया होगा. No, it's not like that. Child, we cannot dismiss how they feel. We have to address that.
All right, and of course we have seen that nowadays children are also very intelligent. They take up things very easily, and they adapt things very easily. Maybe good things or bad things, whatever. So teaching and the guiding and the parenting part starts with home, and then comes the school and the teachers. And friends are a part. Friends are also a part, because they also teach you a lot of things, isn't it? Maybe good, maybe bad, or maybe some other communicative things, which is also very positive for you. So what do you suggest, Chandana, that what would you like to tell our viewers, as we are running short of time as well? So a good routine, a good moral discipline, and moral boosting effort should be come up by the parents, and what are the normal things parents should take care of it?
So first of all, yes.
Let's talk in general, not only in children, but also let's talk in general.
In general, in general it's important, because ultimately it's all about the childhood. Childhood is a very important factor in anybody's life, whether it's a child, whether it's an adult, whether it's an old person. So I would suggest that, we must have a healthy environment at home, and for that, do whatever you feel like, what is the right for the environment, and of course practice being non-judgmental. That is so very important, and address anything which feels like something is wrong, immediately please address it and go to the specialist, because you know, if you cut the finger, then only we go for a tetanus injection, right? It's so easy for us. And why don't we go to the therapist? Why don't you go to the psychologist? This social stigma we really need to remove. There is nothing wrong in going to the therapist. It's all about better coping strategies. It's all about empowerment. So yes, train yourself as well as train your children, and train
so
your
that they
family.
can cope up with the society's any kind of like difficulties and stress, depression, or whatever the things come to them, they can be eased with that. After you become friends with your children, and you become friends with them and talk to them freely. And if you think that you're not able to take out things, then there are psychologists and there are psychotherapists, so they can come up and talk to them about their children and what they are facing up to it. So thank you so much, Chandana, for coming to our show, and we indeed had a fruitful discussion, and I'm sure the viewers who have watched our show must be benefited with what discussion we had today. So with this, we have come to the end of the show, and we hope that we were able to answer all your queries in the best possible way. In our next episode, we will be discussing on some other important health issues. So if you have any queries, do join us next Sunday at 5 p.m. live. So till then, stay healthy, stay fit, and keep watching Northeast Live. Goodbye.